Sheryl Crow has had a hugely successful musical career. She's won 9 Grammys and had massive hits such as If It Makes You Happy and All I Want to Do. But the last few years have been tough. Her relationship with the cyclist Lance Armstrong broke up before he admitted using performance-enhancing drugs. She was diagnosed with breast cancer and with a non-malignant brain tumour. She's now adopted 2 sons as a single mother, made a new album of country music, Feels Like Home, and she's moved to Nashville, near the place she grew up. Why did she decide to go home?
I was diagnosed with breast cancer 8 years ago, and my world seemingly kind of fell apart all at the same moment. And I made a rash decision to move back home, what I felt like was home. My sister lives in Nashville, been going there for 20 years. My family all lives within 3 hours drive. And I really, up until that point, just didn't feel like I had roots anywhere. So that moment in my life kind of dictated that I put roots down somewhere. While I ride around the world, she tells me to stop and stay at home, mother, stay at home. It was the best decision I ever made. I have an immediate community of people that rallied around me, and it's just been amazing ever since. I adopted my boys. I have an incredible network of people. We raise our kids together, and my family lives down there. It's just been amazing, and that definitely has informed the record and the writing and the spirit of it.
There's a very strong country feel about the album. Why a country album?
Before I made this record, a country guy, country star, Brad Paisley, came up to me at an awards show, and I had just sung with Loretta Lynn and Miranda Lambert. And he said, "Are you finally going to make a record for the format you belong to? If your songs came out now, they would definitely be considered country, probably more country than what country radio plays. If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad."
You were a rock chick.
Yeah. I consider myself to be sort of a stepchild of the Rolling Stones, during their real country phase, like Let It Bleed and Exile and Country Honk and Dead Flowers. I felt like I was hopefully an offshoot of that, and Emmylou Harris.
You've written a lot about relationships. My favourite mistake thought to be about Eric Clapton, but never confirmed, was it?
Could be about any number of people.
Why does romance, relationship, personal stuff feature a lot in the work?
Oh, I think I would be denying myself completely and wholly as a writer to not pull from experience. I don't even know how you would write. Even if you're writing narratively, your experiences inform your point of view, which informs the way you look at your characters. There's probably a piece of me on most of every song I've written. That's the most important thing, is love. I believe we're here, on the planet. We live our lives solely to connect, to be a part of something, or to be in relationship. It is the great motivator.
There has clearly been one very difficult relationship, and that's the Lance Armstrong relationship, which you described at one point as toxic. Why did you say toxic?
Well, I always make it a practice not to discuss the inner machinations of relationship. And I look at every relationship as my having been not only a participant, but there's always indications about who you choose that reflect on how you feel about yourself at any given moment in time. And there are relationships that I've had that have been wonderful that didn't pan out. I've also been in relationships that I stuck with that weren't wonderful, that were clearly something that I needed to go through to learn what it was that I needed to address in myself. And that was probably a relationship that I came away with having learned a lot about myself, and ultimately wound up with my getting diagnosed with cancer. Obviously not for any other reason except for that was pre-existing. But that moment in time made me really address the people I had chosen to be with, the way I was living my life, putting myself at the bottom of the pile of people I took care of, and that whole scenario in my life, that moment in time, I think really demanded that I regroup and that I rededicate myself to being authentic. And ultimately wound up being a very good experience.
But how frustrating is it now to continually be drawn back into the doping controversy?
It's not something I asked to be drawn back into, because to be perfectly honest, I'm so far away from it. I would say very little, but that's an overstatement. It has no relevance to my life at this point, and his story is his story, which has nothing to do with me. There are people that want to draw me back into it because they want to talk about him, and I just, I have nothing to say.
Soon after the split with him, you dealt with breast cancer and then were diagnosed with a benign, thankfully, brain tumour.
It's never a dull moment in my life.
But what
I like to keep it interesting.
What was it when that was going on that gave you the courage to adopt 2 little boys?
One of the big things for me, the big eye-opening experiences of having been diagnosed, anyone, and you yourself have had breast cancer, will tell you that there is a lesson, they call it the cancer lesson, but I believe it to be true of any obstacle you've been handed, that there is a lesson tailor-made to you and that you don't want to miss out on. My radiologist, who was very stoic, said to me, when you walk out of here, there will be a lesson that you will have been handed to you that you will either get or you won't. And she said, I recommend that you really look deeply at what your story is. And I came away from that really feeling that was a gift that she said that to me. Because for me, I think I had created this mythology that life was supposed to look a certain way, which was, you work hard, you get married, you fall in love, you get married, you have a baby. In life, that's the way things happen. They happen in an order. And that was such a limiting story that I kept telling myself. So when I finished breast cancer treatment, I looked at my life and thought, I really want to be a mom. Maybe my life isn't going to look exactly like the story that I've been telling myself. And as soon as I let go of that idea that, you get married, you have kids, I thought, there are kids that need moms, and maybe the dad comes in after the kids come. And so I started the adoption process, not really thinking one way or the other that this is going to happen or it's not going to happen. I just thought if it's going to happen, at least I've opened the door. And then within a year, I had Wyatt, and my life was fully enriched. I feel like that was one of the lessons that I came away with. You create these mythologies about who you are and about what life is supposed to look like, and then you get diagnosed with something that's life-threatening, and you look at your life and think, what am I doing? I'm living in the restraints of some ideology that is not necessarily the truth.
There's a song on the album called Waterproof Mascara, which says it won't run like Daddy did.
Yeah.
Who's that for?
That is a very, very typical country sentiment, That is the one probably fully committed country song in the school of Tammy Wynette, tried and true heartbreak country song. It's set in a scenario that I can fully relate to, which is being a single mom and having your child say, well, where's my dad? And I've had my 6-year-old ask me that, do I have a dad?
And all my friends have daddies, Mommy, why don't I? And so I wear waterproof mascara. There's things you shouldn't see when you're a kid. Thank God they make waterproof mascara, 'cause it won't run like his daddy did.
And also that idea that when you're dating and you're a single mom and you have kids, that immediately weeds out a lot of people, right off the bat. Because you're not dating for one, you're dating for 3.
So I'm dating again. Letting my guard down is just so hard to do. I've never introduced my son to someone new. 'Cause if I get my heart broke, I know he will too. And that's why I wear waterproof mascara.
And it's kind of been fun that what I knew would happen, which would be women would come up to me and say, I'm a single mom, that song is very emotional. I've had a lot of men come up to me and say, I was raised by a single mom, And that song means so much to me. And I didn't expect that. So that's been a treat.
And no one's come along who's suitable for 3 yet?
Well, unfortunately, I've put a lot of attention into raising my kids, and so I haven't probably dedicated the time that it requires to be out there. I definitely believe there'll be somebody who's fully game for 2 little boys. They're just great kids.
She could have a house and a couple of kids and never have to be alone as a stay-at-home mother. Stay-at-home mother. Stay-at-home.
Sheryl Crow, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've got Robert Kearns and Peter Stroud here to accompany you on a song called Easy.
That's right. 2, 3, 4.
We said this summer we'd go down to Cancun. No money makes that kind of hard to do. Forget the beach, I'd rather be here with you, playing croquet. Okay, maybe that's not true. Could you make it easy, easy, easy to get away? Sit in the sun and drink beer all day. You know it's easy, easy, easier anyway. Who needs Mexico? Baby, let's stay home. We'll put on bug spray and we'll lose our clothes. Put out the lawn chairs and turn on the hose. We'll play Jack Johnson, he's the new Don Ho. Or we'll go surfing, surfing, surf the radio. 'Cause you make it easy, easy, easy to get away. Sit in the sun and drink beer all day. You know it's easy, easy, easier anyway. Who needs Mexico? Tell me now, who needs Mexico? Baby, let's stay home.
Sheryl Crow, who played her track Easy in the Woman's House studio, and her new album Feels Like Home. It's out now.